Hello and welcome to the show. We're going to be tying up one of these little crazy claw crab flies today. This is a medium. I'm going to tie up a large, but this one, as you can see, it's got the white bottom, black top. These are the hooks that I use. I'm using these hooks if I'm doing the small or the medium, and I'm using these hooks for the large because these hooks are actually bigger, even though it says size 2 and that's size 1. So anyway, I've got my shells over here. This is the bottom shell. You can tell because it's got the little slot for the claw, and it's got the holes for the silly legs. So usually I will put the silly legs in first, and these are the silly legs I'm using. So you can use whatever silly legs you want. I just like these wide ones. They look pretty cool. These are the eyes I'll be using, but you can use whatever eyes you want. It doesn't have to be the mono eyes. Usually I'm using these little beads tied on to monofilament over here as my eyes, but those are just a lot easier. So here we go. This is how you put in the legs using the bobbin threader. All right, I got my little bottom piece in this helping hand here. It's just magnetically stuck to my vise base, and it is pretty helpful. So I'm going to grab my bobbin threader. This is what you would use to thread these guys when you're putting a new spool on. Everybody's got one of these, and these make it so much easier to deal with. So I'm just going to grab one of these pieces that I have left over, and let me get zoomed in a little bit so you can see what's going on here a little better, hopefully. So you can see the holes, and all I do is stick my bobbin threader through, and let me go under so you can see. I come through here, and then when you pull it back through, it just drags your silly leg right through that hole for you, and it makes it so much easier than trying to fish it through the hole. That's just ridiculous. So then with this part hanging out, I come back into the hole next to it, and I pop that one in. I'm trying to watch myself do this on the camera. That's why it looks like I'm an idiot. I can't see what I'm doing here, but anyway. So there you have your two legs, and then I just do the other holes the same way that I just did this one here. And when I'm done with all when I'm done with all three of the legs, I'll put a little dab of super glue right here. And usually I'll just kind of pull this leg a little bit and pull that leg a little bit to get the super glue down in the holes. And I've never had the legs come back out again once it's on there. All right, so once you get all these on there, which is pretty quick and easy and fast if you're not talking to a camera the whole time, then it's on to the tying the top shell on, the eyes, and the dumbbell weights. All right, so now I've got my hook in the vise. I'm taking my shell, and I'm just gonna put it on here so I can kind of eyeball where my eyes are gonna go. And as you can see, you'll want your eyes on this one to go right at the bend here. And then your dumbbell weights will just go back here close to the eye of the hook. So I'm going to tie those on real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, and this is the thread I'm using here in case anybody is wondering. It is black flat wax nylon. But now that I've got my dumbbell eyes on the bottom of the hook, my regular little mono eyes are on the top up here. You can see that the shell fits just right in between these. And it doesn't matter so much for the top shell. It's mainly about the bottom shell, because the bottom shell has to have clearance. So if this gets too close, you're going to have a hard time gluing the bottom shell onto the top shell. So without further ado, let's lay down a little bit of super glue. And I'm just going to put a little dab right up on from the eyes, just down a little bit. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to put it on the weight and come back up a little bit. That'll be all the super glue I need for the top. And if you look at the crab shell, see if it'll focus. Focus. Anyway, there we go. There's little tiny eyes at the very top up here, and this is the back. So if you're curious about what the orientation is, that is how it's orientated. So we're going to get it on just like that. We get our thread right up against the back of it. I go right over the top and then just lock that in. And then from this side, I'm coming back over. And then I'm locking that one in. And then I just go back and forth anywhere from 3 to 5 times. So far, I haven't had any of these come apart on me. Let me get that thread past a little bump there. There it goes. And then after that, I mean, you could pretty much just whip finish it and call that good, because at this point, all you have left to do is tie on or not tie on, but glue on your bottom part. All right, so now you're just going to want to flip this guy over. Kind of keep an angle so you can see a little better here. But all I'm going to do now is take a little bit of super glue and put a real thin bead. I'm trying to see if I can go just a tiniest little bit right around the edge. All right. Now I'm going to take the bottom shell here, and I'm going to take the claw, and I'm just going to, let me get this in front of the camera so you can see what I'm doing here. So the bottom shell is just going to accept the claw into that little ball there. And then you just turn the whole thing over. And I usually just grab the silly legs, use them as like kind of a handle so I can see what I'm doing, and then I just place it down on top. And once it's sitting down on top, I'm just checking to make sure that it's all nice and lined up. And if it is in fact all lined up, which this one is lined up just right, then I just make sure to move this claw around as the glue dries. Because otherwise, if the glue dries on that claw, it will be stuck good. Okay, and the other thing is you can kind of see how loose this claw moves around. If you don't like that and you want the claw to not move as much, my suggestion is to take a little bit of your silly legs or something, put a dot of glue right there next to the ball, like right below the ball, and then wrap the silly leg around it a couple of times. That way when you put it in there, it'll be a tighter fit and it'll have like that rubbery silicone kind of feel around it. So it'll still move, it just won't be able to move super freely like this. I like the freely moving jaws more than the ones that are kind of restrained. And I also like the small crabs. I think the small crabs in all black or black with white bottom seems to be the best in my opinion. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. And catch a lot of reds. Hopefully some sheep's head, probably some black drum. Thanks for watching.